All right. There we go. There we go. Thursday. Slide medium impact news at 8:30 later today on this rather light week news-wise. And let's go. So M&Q continues contract. This is the small little bearish fair value gap on the daily. I like the relative equal lows in here. They're pretty smooth. This is the current range that we are trading in, and we are clearly in a premium of that range. Left relative equal highs. Right, small little fair value gap there that was traded to and rejected. Small little inefficiency there. But nonetheless, those relative equal lows here are looking quite suspect. And generally, a run below this line into some measure of discount would be welcome to see any potential bounce. Morning, Sonia. Welcome to the stream. Bicep liquidity pretty relative equal highs in here. Yeah, definitely looking pretty smooth on the highs and on the lows currently. Asia had this market maker sell model here. Almost but not quite clearing the low there. Then retrading back inside of the range, and now here we are consolidating. All right, so what we have in here is like a larger breaker here. Larger breaker. It's bearish, and we have those radical lows down there. And that's kind of what I think is likely to be attacked near term. So let's see. And let's go to ES and check the situation there. All right, so this is ES daily chart. We have this volume balance up there. And that's kind of what I think we might gravitate towards on the upside still. That's kind of what I think. We have this larger larger range. This is equilibrium. Below that is discount. Above that is premium. So far we tapped into premium here slightly, and now we are seeking some lows near term. While eventually the sell side here is way too smooth, that's for sure. But yeah, I still wonder if we could gravitate towards the volume balance and buy side liquidity first, rather than just selling off right away. Looks like there is a smooth sell side liquidity here that is also under a target. So this is kind of like the sell side I like. The body here and this low. So trading below that near term is reasonable expectation, but after we do that, I would like to see it turn around or try to turn around. I feel like. I love the end dock here. It's beautiful. Beautiful end dock. All right, so it's attacking quite aggressively towards the sell side, as mentioned, as outlined here. I guess that's reasonable. We do have some SMT divergence here on the highs between ES and Nasdaq, admittedly. So right off the gate, 3 a.m. and sell side is being engaged here. Below this low. Ignore this week or just consider the consecutive encroachment as the line in the sand. But yeah, sell side is being engaged. I definitely like this SIBI here. And I would love to see this act as a bullish inversion for value gap. Potentially offer a run into this NDOC. Based on the larger range, for example, on ES, this is the high, this is the low. Equilibrium is here, so anything above that is premium, anything below that is discount, technically. So in regards to that range, we are technically in a discount on ES. Does this mean that it has to go higher? No, obviously not. But it gives a little bit of a building block behind building an idea that either will be valid or not, right? And in my opinion, this enormous SIBI that runs the sell liquidity on a greater scale would or could be seen as a bullish inversion for value gap if indeed we are going to be turning around here and trading higher, which I would generally like to look for, versus a continuation lower. Yes, it's possible, but taking the fact that we are technically in a larger range discount and we already took sell side here and we have this relative equal lows that were made jagged here and move away. So generally it will be harder for price to attack these type of lows in here unless it's very bearish, which it might be, but this week is rather light on the news. It's rather light overall. So I I'm not necessarily expecting this to provide a very large range to the downside. And if it's not likely to doing that, it's more likely to stay inside of the range, consolidate, which means move a little bit higher, move a little bit lower, and that would fit my expectations. Yeah, unfortunately, that might be true, and that's kind of like a wild card, obviously, that cannot be predicted in a sense, unless you just stay away from the market, which is a solid option after all. But yeah, so far, the CB is being respected in the lower half, and price is moving slightly away from it. Yeah, that's the sell side that is being run out. Ignore the wicks, focus on the bodies. The bodies had relatively cool lows basically here. That's what's being engaged. That's the sell side. The wicks are not that important to run right now. All right, looks like we are going to be having or seeing a 5-minute inefficiency here too, after sell side is being engaged. And the gray shaded box that we are trading inside of is the daily volume imbalance. And as you can see, we are still in the upper half of that PD array after we traded above it. So that may or may not, obviously, but may support some bullish ideas too, as long as we are not breaching the mean threshold consecutive encroachment / midpoint of that particular PD array on the downside. But yeah, so far the inefficiency here at 3 a.m. is being used as a measure or means of continuation to the downside, which means I'm basically not doing anything with it right now and just staying on the sidelines. ES dove aggressively and attacks his radical lows right there. So yes, I mean Nasdaq. I'm sorry, Nasdaq. Quite reasonable expectation, I assume, to do so. And it's stretching aggressively lower. Right, so it's really skipping and stretching lower and lower and lower on the 50-minute. And we do have those radical lows still technically intact in play. So yeah, if it's showing that much of a displacement, then the sell side down there is naturally quite more possible. But I don't know how I would engage that during this session particularly, unless I went right away in. This seems pretty tricky to engage now. I feel like this feels like Elvis left the building and it's just smashing lower now, which I guess is fine, right? That's not that big of a deal. But I was looking for something else, basically, to unfold potentially. It's not giving me that signatures yet, so I'm pretty much sidelined for the moment. Good morning, Don Christian. Hello. Welcome, welcome. Well, so eventually we swept those lows on the week basis too. So that's basically the sales liquidity that was being attacked and or engaged right now, both on the bodies and the wicks. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have a very clear vision that it will deliver higher right now. And I'm a little bit confused in terms of finding a setup right now that makes sense. I don't see it. So I need to wait. So yeah, I mean, I definitely expect some shenanigans here. Good morning. Hello. We traded with a quite large range of a 50-minute candle here. And we closed below the consecutive encroachment of this week, which is kind of like a line in the sand. Therefore, as long as we maintain on a closing basis below that, lower would be more likely, I would say. But also there is quite a chance that we are going to be forming an inefficiency here, imbalance, on a 50-minute that might be used later as a means of either draw or maybe even inversion or something like that. It would be rather a hard sell, I feel like, because it just took sell liquidity. It just did it. It has this ugly wick on the down side of this candle here. I don't generally like those type of inefficiencies to sell into. So that's kind of suspect in that regard. But yeah, at the same time, we have the sell side relative close down there, which I definitely like as a draw, but I'm just not convinced that I like it right now with this run in here. I feel like that run into that sell side will be reserved for some higher impact news or something like that. I might be wrong, obviously, but that's kind of what I think about it at the moment. So regardless, let's watch what it does, how it does. It's definitely trading higher on a deeper basis here. Going back to this inefficiency seems quite reasonable at this moment. But at the same time, if it does come back there, then is it really that bearish still? I wouldn't say so. I like the bicep here. Whereas so Nasdaq engaged those radical lows. It still has, yeah, I mean, it swept this low slightly too. So sell side was generally tapped into. A likely bearish fair value gap slash CB being formed or placed here at this area. I wouldn't be surprised if it wanted to make some lower lows, to be honest, and try to dig deeper a little bit, maybe into some deeper discount even off of this range. It just doesn't look like it wants to turn around here. I feel like it just doesn't look like it wants to turn around. So how I feel about this price action so far in here, I feel like this run lower was the preferred run, preferred price action delivery and setup overall. The run to the sell side, it delivered really nicely in hindsight. It offered this inefficiency here, which was probably the silver bullet to look for, and that engaged the sell side liquidity. I personally was expecting the sell side liquidity to being run out, but I was willing to give the downside, give the sell setup away or give up on it and just wait for it to run the sell side and then turn around and then go look for longs to some buy side liquidity pools. But it feels right now that the sell side was really nice and now the turnaround is just way sloppier, which makes it kind of like less favorable, I feel like, to engage. At least at the moment, I feel like it's just not that good of a setup at the time. There might be some scalps, yes. But in terms of like something that could take me up into the end dock here, it's pretty difficult to tell. The buy side in here definitely looks too clean as it is. It's relative equal highs and this one is lower than the high to the left, which is ideal. We consolidated, then broke aggressively lower into sell side. And I would generally or reasonably like and or expect the price want to gravitate towards the buy side liquidity here again and into the end dock possibly, right? Price failed to close below the consecutive encroachment of this week already here. That might be a positive sign. It formed a 15-minute CB, which technically overlaps with that 1 minute inefficiency here almost perfectly. That will be something that price will need to overcome first on the upside, but also this could act as a draw on liquidity on a very small scale, small basis. This area here is likely to draw the price higher into it. I mean, Let's see, sell side is being engaged here below this low. And I would generally like, if price could snap above it here, use this as inversion to send us into that inefficiency here, which could yield around 5 candles or so, potentially, right? Let's see if that will be the case or not. If it loses this inversion here, then it should consider the low, making a lower low. So yeah, framing only this as a potential draw on liquidity for price. Let's see if it will allow for a scalp into it or not. The idea, or the general idea, is that we've taken sell side liquidity, and this is basically a 15-minute inefficiency here. 15-minute SIBI, right? So it's quite reasonable to expect that price may want to reach up into it next. So I'm potentially using it or trying to use it as a potential draw on liquidity on the upside. I don't mind if we would take this low out, for example, first. That wouldn't change anything to me. But it's this inefficiency here on 50-minute. And that we just formed, and we've just taken sell side liquidity too. So it's quite reasonable as of a draw. Because external range liquidity taken, then usually it's some internal range liquidity, which is here. It's like a breaker here, a high, a low, higher high. But because I would look for this as a means of drawing price up, this could also act as an inversion breaker, potentially. Well, I assume it can take its time though, right? It can quite likely take some time here. All right, so it's sweeping another short-term low. I wouldn't be surprised if we took this low in here at 312 too, with current structure. It would seem rather reasonable. All right, so the low is being attacked in here, I feel like, which is reasonable because, yeah, we dived, we put this low, run away quickly. A lot of sell side definitely build up below this low. So let's see if we can take that and offer any idea to run towards the 15-minute DB. Sell side tapped into. small little inefficiency here. Uh, that's yeah, a little bit too small for my liking though. Yeah, both indices are making a dive lower, running sells liquidity. While leaving this fair value gap open for now. And it might stay open altogether, right? But I will still give it the doubt that we might want to come back into it. And that return into it would be technically all I need to find a potential scalp, which obviously so far it's not there, not formed yet. So I do nothing, right? If it doesn't form until 4 a.m., then yeah, I will just not do anything with it. But that's kind of like the idea that at least I can potentially frame around this context. Yeah, I mean ES has those too clean of a lows here, so that might be the scenario where if it might not want to return higher, right? That's one of the possibilities that are seeming to be more up to expected at the moment based on how heavy the price action looks so far. Yeah, just looks heavy. Just looks heavy though. Nasdaq has this 345-minute fair value gap that took sell side here. And could maybe become a inversion to run towards the inefficiency here. Doesn't need to reach exactly up into it, but towards that. Yeah, it went into a small little consolidation here below an old low. So generally that's where price can consolidate, and it's fine because many times that's a sign of accumulation within a proper context. The context that I would potentially see is this inefficiency here to be a potential draw on the upside. So I would view this consolidation below this low as a potential accumulation of longs to send it up into this. But yeah, to confirm that idea, we would need to see a measure of displacement out of it and yeah, form a measure of busy that could be potentially utilized or would indicate that price is in rush to go higher next. Yeah, this would have been an idea. Using this busy, this inefficiency, if I could get a return to it and aim potentially for that inefficiency up there. Let's see, 2.5 minutes until 4 a.m. So that's kind of like I would want to see whether I can get a fill or not during this time. If not, then I'm out. If yes, then that's kind of like the idea that I would like to entertain within the structure here. One more minute. If I don't get a fill, I will cancel and go to the next session though. All right, so it didn't give me the feel the first couple minutes. Unfortunate, I suppose, but yeah, that's kind of like it for this particular session. I feel like the idea of drawing up into this CB is the only idea that I have right now. It just touched to this busy, so I can watch whether it would have been pan out or not. The stop loss was 1 tick below this candle here. This candle's low, so I would get filled there with the idea best case scenario run up there. And yeah, that's definitely something I will want to watch and see whether it would work or not. But yeah, that's as far as it gets for this session here. So nonetheless, thanks for watching. Kudos to you guys. I wish you a pleasant reminder of the day, and see you probably during the New York morning session later today. We'll see how it will go about that time. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye bye.